Hi, everybody. Welcome to episode 23, I think, of Knits and Pieces. We're a knitting podcast coming to you from Southern Ontario. My name's Noelle. I live in Sarnia, and this is my friend Kelly.
I'm Kelly. I already said that. And I'm coming to you from Courtright. So we're about 25 minutes apart. And yeah.
Unfortunately.
This was a lot easier when we were together, for sure.
It was a lot easier. There's a lot to figure out when you're doing it this way.
A lot.
Anyway, so we want to thank everybody for watching, all our returning viewers and any new subscribers. Thanks for tuning in and watching us. We're having fun doing this, and we're going to tell you just a little bit about a couple of the cals that we've got going. So the first one that I'm going to talk about is our year-long sock cal. So for this cal, you just have to finish a pair of socks, adult size, put them in the FO thread, which is on Ravelry. And then once a month, we're going to be drawing a prize from that thread. So the more socks you put in, the more chances you have to win. So every month we'll just add from the whole pool. We're not going to go back and just say, we're just looking at the ones in February or the ones in March. We're going to do the whole pool. So the more entries you have in and the earlier you have them in there, the more chances you have to win a prize. So we started, we announced this at our last podcast. So we've had a couple of weeks, 2.5 weeks maybe, and there's already, what did you say, Kelly, 57 pairs in there?
57, yes.
Wow, so that's really good. So we do have a prize for this first month. So this is the prize. It is a skein of marled sock yarn. This is from Leo and Roxy. This color, I believe, is called the Hood, and it's just a nice red. So they make wonderful socks. Kelly and I both have them. And if those socks are clean, that's the socks that are on my feet because they feel amazing. So Kelly's going to go in and do random number generator and pull a prize for January.
How many pairs did you knit for Christmas of those, Noelle?
15.
15 pairs.
Yep. So I'm not quite ready to knit another pair yet.
Hey, Siri. Oh, Siri's not working today. Okay, chat her a minute. I'm going to find a random number generator here.
Siri's getting all the other technical problems that we've had so far. Siri just thought she'd join in too.
Okay, so I'm going to choose a number between 1 and 57. Or I guess 58 if you want 57 to be included.
No, or 2 and 57.
No, because number 1 is your entry. So that's perfect.
Right. So, okay, because there's 58 pairs. Okay. Okay. So between 2 and 58 then.
Okay. And you see that? It's number 27. So I'll go in and I'll prepare a prize page for that and I'll insert it here. So congratulations, lucky number 27.
Perfect. And if the winner just wants to contact one of us on Ravelry or through Instagram, just let us know and give us your address and we'll get that prize in the mail to you.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And I have to say there are a lot of beautiful socks in there. I know I've added a few more pairs to my queue, like patterns that you don't necessarily see when you go in and look at Ravelry until someone else kind of points them out to you. So it's been really nice like that.
I've added a few pairs to my list too, because Noelle and I are joining in. We're obviously not eligible for the prizes, but we're definitely joining in. And so I've added a few of the socks. And I think the next pair I cast on came from our sock pool. So,
yeah, that's good. So, okay. So now Kelly's going to tell you a little bit about the other cal that we have going.
So the other one that we have going is called the Self-Care Make-Along. And it's basically just to encourage you to make something that brings you comfort and joy and happiness. So like in my case, that would probably be something for me. I'm a selfish knitter and I'm not shy to admit that. But maybe your form of self-care is knitting for others or crocheting for others or making something. It is a make along. So it's just encouraging you to make something that makes you feel good. And we have a finished object thread in our Knits and Pieces group as well for that. So there is a chatter group as well. So if you're making something and you want to share some details along the way, then that's the place to enter that into the chatter group. And you'll probably get some comments or feedback on that.
Yeah.
Once the object is finished, then pop it into the finished object thread. And then we are drawing for that on March the 20th.
Yes.
Yes, which is the first day of spring.
I don't know if that's the first day of spring or the last day of winter. I don't know, but it's March 20th.
March 20th. Okay.
Isn't that when that's when we have equal day and night again?
Yes.
Right.
Yeah. Well, technically the days are getting longer now. We don't notice it yet. Well, maybe
no, they're getting longer, but they're still the nights are still longer than the days.
Yeah, absolutely. So that's on March 20th. So keep contributing in there. We've already got quite a few entries, and hoping to get quite a few more in there before then.
Yep. And sometimes self-care can just mean you're knitting something because it's a yarn that you want to knit with. Mm-hmm. Right. Because sometimes I just want to it's not necessarily that I really want to finish something, but I really want to be knitting with a specific yarn or trying out a new pattern. So, it just depends on what type of knitter you are and what brings you joy while you're knitting.
Sounds good. We have one other announcement, and in light of how long it took to set up this podcast today, I hesitate to say this, but we are going to attempt to do an actual live broadcast of Knits and Pieces. And we used to, when we could go out, often on Saturday mornings, myself and Noelle and a few other knitters got together at a coffee shop, and we called that our Saturday morning knit chat. So we're going to carry on in that tradition. We're going to call it Knit Chat, but we're going to host that on next Sunday, February the 7th at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So if you are in any calculation of our time zone and you can join in, we would love to have you. This is hopefully going to be interactive, and so it's not going to be a formalized anything like our podcast. We're just basically, Noelle and I are going to be sitting together, having a chat, doing some knitting maybe. And so if you have some questions for us, or if you have questions about the projects that we're working on, or you've seen something on a podcast that you want to, or if it's just feedback, we love reading your comments. I don't know about Noelle, but they're kind of the highlight of my day.
Yep, they are.
I wake up, I check first thing every morning, and we've gotten a lot of new subscribers, and it's fun to hear what you have to say, and it's encouraging, and it's just it's amazing to me, that we can be here. Well, normally we would be together, but if we can be just here, and somebody in some other corner of the world is reaching out to us about something that we're knitting or something that we're doing or making. And that's just encouraging to us, and it's fun. And, we're picking up other tips as well. And so we're going to try to do a live next Sunday, again, February 7th, 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Please join us.
So where are we going to put that? We have to put the details, Kelly, the Zoom meeting and...
It's not going to be a Zoom meeting. We're going to use another platform. So it'll be like a chat forum. It'll be live on YouTube.
Okay.
If you log into our channel, you'll be able to, at that time, if all goes well, you'll be able to log in and see us, and then chat along with us through your keyboards. And I hope somebody shows up.
We'll practice this week.
Yes, we're going to practice this week. And if nobody shows up, Noelle and I are going to have a knit chat by ourselves.
That's right.
Yeah.
So.
Okay. What else?
So maybe now we'll talk about what we're wearing.
Oh, yeah. Okay. You go ahead first.
Okay. So I am wearing the Hinterland sweater by Jennifer Steingass. I'll kind of stand up here, although I don't want to knock anything over. You can get a general idea. It's kind of has a little bit of shaping here. And it comes to just about mid-hip. I made this last year, actually. Yeah, because I don't think I had a chance to wear it before this winter. So the green yarn is Juniper Moon Farms, their Patagonia, which is an organic merino that's non-superwash. And then Kelly, do you know what the yarn is through here?
No, I can't remember.
It's spin. Remember the spin cycle that I won?
Oh, the one that you won. Yes.
Yes.
And you had looked at the exact same colorway. How didn't you said you were talking about that colorway.
This colorway?
Yes.
Oh, it was, because when we were in New York, I had seen this colorway. I think it was when we were at Brooklyn General, and I thought, no, I'm not going to buy it. We haven't been to Vogue Knitting Live yet. I don't know what I'll see there. Well, then I didn't buy anything at Vogue Knitting Live. And then it was probably maybe a month and a half later. It was the Woolen Vine podcast, and she had this skein as a giveaway, and I just entered it. And you and I were sitting watching it at the same time when I won it.
Because it was one of the nights that I had come to your house before yoga. So we were having snackies and a glass of wine before my yoga class, and we're watching the podcast, and all of a sudden the winner, Noelle Nelson, and we're like, you would have
Kelly just goes, what?
You won at the Oscars or something.
Anyway, so this one skein was perfect. It's called Tough Love, and the pattern has a little bit of the detail in the sleeves as well. And I pretty much used up almost the whole skein, so it worked out perfectly for this sweater. So, and I like the sweater. I like the Juniper Moon Farms. The Patagonia is actually listed as a DK, but I would say realistically, it's more like you can wear it as a DK, but it's really light. But pretty much, I would say it's more like a sport. And the pattern, actually, her pattern calls for, it says fingering weight, but then her tension is 22 stitches. Well, for me, that's a little loose for a fingering. I prefer a fingering to be a little tighter. So it was nice to have yarn that was a little bit thicker to knit it in.
It looks great on you. I like the colors. And
So,
I'm wearing the Ramona cardigan. So I knit this a couple of years ago, but it's still one of my favorite cardigans. I'll kind of stand up here a little bit. It's what I like about it. One of the details that I really like is the ribbing around the waist. So it's just a little bit longer than a crop, but it's sort of like a broken seed stitch. And I knit this in Louisa Harding Eskel. And it's a combination of merino, wool, llama, and silk. And the color is 002. And I had bought a large quantity of this, so I have lots left over. I love the yarn.
Yeah, it's pretty.
It's got, it has that rustic look, but it definitely does not have a rustic feel. It's incredibly soft. You could wear it. I could even wear this right against my skin. And you know how I feel about things on my skin, but it's so soft. Now, the downside of that is it's really, really warm. So it's not to be worn, like the sweater itself doesn't have a lot of weight to it and it feels really light and airy, but it's incredibly warm. And like, I'll wear this over a dress to work, and by halfway through the day, I'm like, oh, got to pull this off. I'm getting a little overheated. But then the other thing that I found about it too, and maybe this wasn't the best choice to make a cardigan out of, I think it might have been better suited to an actual sweater, because I did find, and you can even see it here, like I maybe should have gone down an extra needle size around the neck just to tighten everything up. It's like it doesn't seem to have like a really strong structure to it, and maybe that's due to some of the fibers. But so what I ended up doing to make sure that this was going to hold its shape better is that I went back in, and then you can maybe see I crocheted a stabilizer bar in there, like a chain stitch, just to hold the neckline a little bit better. But
like just kind of where the neckline meets the
right
body of the sweater.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah. And I did that not in this yarn, but I did that in a similar color yarn, just a sock yarn, which had some nylon in it. So we know that those are really good to hold their shape. So I just went in and I did a chain stitch all the way on the inside of this neckline here, because it doesn't have, like, sometimes I know in sweaters, there'll be hair out of the way. There'll be like a stabilizing stitch along along where you see the shoulders.
Yeah.
But since this is a raglan construction, it doesn't have that. But I love the sweater so much that I wouldn't hesitate to make it again. It was fun to make, And actually, one of the yarns that I have to show you that I acquired this month, it's on my list to do maybe a Ramona light, but we'll talk about that later when I show the yarn off.
Yeah, it's pretty. I love that color.
Well, you know, this color just keeps showing up in my wardrobe. I'm a sucker for anything that's like a golden, it's a goldy gold color.
Well, it's pretty.
Thanks. Okay.
Okay, so now we'll move on to finished objects. Okay, so I have a few FOs.
Okay.
Do you want me to start?
Yes.
Okay, so last podcast we were talking about Hohi's new pattern, the lightweight hipster, and we were both very enthusiastic about doing it. So since we have the self-care Cal going on, even though I should have been finishing other things, I decided I would cast it on. And I did.
That's beautiful.
So thanks. I love it. I love it. So the yarn is Ginger Snap, and it is their Eclipse. No, not Eclipse. Just a minute here.
Fingering twist.
Yes, fingering twist in the blue. And I used every last drop of yarn, but I got a good size out of it. Like it's 66 inches across and it's 14 inches deep, not counting the fringe. So like it's a good size when you put it on. Like you've still got lots of like tassel stuff around here. Yeah, so it's a good size. So what I did when I got close to the end was I measured off my fringe. Like I figured out how many I was going to do and what length they were going to be. And I cut up all my fringe and then I knit and weighed every row until I used every drop of yarn that there was. So I actually ended up getting another couple of garter rounds. So like another 4 rows at the end, more than what the pattern says.
It's really nice. Really nice.
Yeah, I'm really happy with it. And it was such a fun, quick knit. Like I definitely know I'm going to be doing more of these because it just was a pleasure to knit. And, you know, I said, when you do these little sections here, the crossovers, like that row takes a little bit of time to do. But basically, when you're done it, you've got more than an inch of fabric. So even though it took time and it was 1 row and you're thinking, oh, it takes this long to do 1 row, realistically, you've got that much fabric done when you're finished it. So yeah, really, really fun knit. Great pattern. So I highly recommend. I think I've got Jacqueline convinced she's going to make one.
And Hohi,
so
the pattern is different than the hipster. So it isn't just, you know, where she's taken an existing pattern and just said, hey, go ahead and knit this in fingering. It's actually different. The pattern is different. But the nice
because in the hipster, like in between, in this pattern, you had like a textured stitch. Okay, so this section in here that's lacy, if you did this shawl in a more tonal yarn, that would really pop. You would really see that lace. Like in mine, you can't see it as much because the yarn's got all the black striping in it. But yeah, I think it would be beautiful too if you did it in a fingering held with a mohair. It would look really nice. Anyway, and like that would be an awesome gift. And it's just 1 skein of yarn. So really nice pattern. I really enjoyed it.
And Hohi's done a thing too, where if you already have the hipster pattern, it's only $2.50 to buy the lightweight.
Yeah.
Which is pretty cool.
So,
okay.
I'll show you my next FO. Well, it's actually sort of finished. So this is my P2 cardigan. This is by Sirpa Mahonen. It is done in Biche and Bouche cashmere and lamb's wool, and the color is gray brown. It's not finished because I don't have buttons yet. I ordered buttons from Wool Warehouse before the last podcast, and they're still not here. So I actually ordered some. They had little coconut buttons at Michael's, and I ordered them and I tried them on here and I didn't like it. So I'm just going to wait for the buttons that I want to come, because they're kind of little round Celtic knots and I think they'll look really nice on it. So really, really liked making this cardigan. I love making baubles because I've taught myself just this past maybe 3 or 4 months, how to knit backwards. So when I'm doing my baubles, I don't have to constantly turn my work. I can just go across, knit back, go across, knit back, and then do your pass slips over. And it's so much faster than turning your work every time you're doing a bauble. So really like doing them. Just like the texture, it's got a little bit of the detail down at the bottom of the hem and also at the sleeves. Yeah, so I'm really looking forward to having my buttons to sew on there. So, and it feels really nice. Recommend the yarn. Nice lightweight cardigan. My whole cardigan weighs less than 200 grams. So
crazy.
Yeah.
So how many skeins? Are they 50-gram skeins then?
They're 50 grams. So it was 4 50-gram skeins. And I maybe had a couple of grams left, but it was plenty long enough. Like I could have made it maybe a couple of rows longer, but it was long enough. So, and kind of because you're doing the border at the bottom, I didn't want to stick a whole bunch of extra rows down in here.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, just have to wait for my buttons. Okay, I have another FO.
Okay.
Okay, so last podcast I talked about the Lucky Dip Cal that Kate from Hawthorne Cottage Craft was doing. And I pulled out all my skeins, so 1 a month for 12 months. Mine are all stock yarn skeins, and I'm doing them so that I can finish my family's Christmas socks, doing 1 a month instead of trying to do like 15 pairs in December. So this pair is my first pair. This is called Seawall, and it is by Tin Can Knits. Okay, it's got a cable going down the front, and then it's all basically the whole body of the sock is a knit one, purl one, twisted rib. So, and I do have 2, they are done. So those ones are done. It is a man's pair of socks. So I have now finished 1 man's pair for next Christmas. I really liked working this pattern. And I like how the yarn knitted up. Like I wasn't sure about this yarn to start with. The yarn is Katcha Bombay, and it does have about 41% cotton in it. So it does feel a little different when you're knitting with it. Like you almost get, my finger gets tired because it seems like I tension harder with cotton to keep it, I guess because it doesn't have the stretch in it. But I really like the finished sock, and I'm excited to move on to next month's, which I don't get to find out till tomorrow what yarn it is. So, that's the
Ross
rule.
all
That's
excited about his big part in this tomorrow.
Can't do it till tomorrow. So, okay, I have a few more, but Kelly, do you have some whips?
I have an FO.
Oh, sorry, we're on FOs. Of course we are.
I have one. I started last month and I finished I started and finished in January this pair of socks. And there are 2. This is the Share the Love Socks by Verena Beath. And I really like the lace pattern.
Yeah, it's pretty.
It's, they almost look like little hearts. And I guess that's Share the Love, right? And it has the heel flap and gusset. For the longest time, both Noelle and I were into doing afterthought heels. And then when she did the work sock, she's like, I kind of like doing these heel flap and gussets again. So then we both started doing them, and I have to say, they do fit really well. They really fit well. This is beautiful. This is a yarn by the Skirted Fleece Mill, and it's called Yakety Yak. So it's 70% merino, 20% yak, and then 10% nylon. And I have other socks, not from the same company, but other socks with that percentage of yak. They're so warm, so cozy. And there's like an extra depth of color in yak because the natural color of yak is almost like a taupey gray brown. And so I feel, well, and I don't dye yarn, so I'm not speaking as a dyer, but in my opinion, it seems to take the yarn or the dye differently. And it's really rich, really rich. And this is the color Ent, E-N-T, which a viewer last month told us was from the movie, was it Lord of the Rings, I think?
I think so.
So it's a really nice green. And it's almost like when you look at it here, I think it almost kind of looks like camo colors. So I really like it. Now, since it has lace on it, in the middle of the lace, each little lace row, there is a center double decrease.
Okay.
Is that CDD? Is that what that stands for?
Yep.
Central double decrease. So there's a normal way that if you look up this stitch on Google that it will tell you to do, but I have another way of doing that so that it lays a little flatter. And I have a tutorial that I will post on my Tangled Stitch tutorial channel. If you're interested, lace, I mean, it's a common stitch in lace, right? The center double decrease, and you'll use it in a lot of lace patterns, actually.
Yeah.
So this is just a way to do a stitch so that it lays a little flatter, because typically you kind of get that crossed over stitch happening, and this way it'll sort of line them up flat. So I'll have that posted up there. Anybody can check that out as well.
Okay. Okay, I have a couple more FOs, and they sort of have a winter cabin cozy type of theme going. So the first ones are my cozy cabin socks. I think that's what they are. I have to get all these names straight. Sorry, winter cabin. So this pattern is by Kalura Hudson. I had started these last podcast and I had one finished, so now they're both finished. This is in Briggs and Little Tuffy, which is an 80% wool, 20% nylon, so they'll be good and strong. It is like an Aran weight, so they're thick, like they're house socks or your cabin socks to keep your feet nice and warm. Knit up really quickly because it's a lot heavier weight for a sock, so you don't have that many stitches around. And again, they've got baubles. I love doing the baubles. I just like the whole pattern. And I started them. These ones are toe up. So I did a tubular bind off at the top to give them the stretch that you need. And these ones actually do have the pattern had a short row heel in them. So I just did them the way the pattern said. And again, like going back to talking about the heel flap and the short row, it is sometimes really nice to have a heel that you put in while you're doing the sock. And then when you're done the sock, you're done the sock. Mm-hmm. You know, you don't have to go back and pick up stitches to do your heel, but I still really do like an afterthought heel, especially if you're putting in a contrast color or you're using a self-striping yarn. So it just depends what you're doing. I don't necessarily like one better than the other. I just find that it's nice to have some variety and try them all. So, okay, so those ones were my winter cabin socks or cozy cabin, whatever I said. And then again, I was supposed to be doing other things, but because, you know, it was a self-care month, I really wanted to knit these. And these are called snowy forest socks or winter forest socks. All these names, they will be in the show notes. So if I got them wrong here, they will be in the show notes. Let me just check. Snow forest. They're snow forest. They all have a snow or winter theme. So these are by Kay Jones of the Bakery Bears. They've got a really nice lace pattern going down both. Well, actually, the pattern just had the lace panel going down one side of the sock, but it took up half the sock. So I thought, well, I might as well just center it and put one down each side. So I did it down each side of the sock, so the pattern goes down each side. Again, these ones were top down. So I actually started off with the tubular cast on. Mm-hmm. I really like the tubular cast on. I like the look of it. I like the stretch that it gives. So I did that. Then the heel and toe in these are her umbrella toe. Now it fits really well, but I haven't worn the socks yet because I was waiting to share them on the podcast. So I'll let you know after I've worn them how I like the fit of the umbrella heel and the umbrella toe. So these are done in ginger snap zest fingering, and it's an 80-20 merino nylon blend. And then the contrast color for the heels and toes is Woolen Boon. And the Woolen Boon yarn is actually 100% wool. So I'm hoping for the heel and toe it wears okay. But when I wear my socks, where I usually get holes is down here in the ball of the foot. Like I usually don't find I have trouble with the toes or the heels. It's usually down here. So anyway, hopefully they'll wear okay. But I love my pink. So, okay. And then my last FO. Again, these are my loom socks, and these are by Fiber Tales. These are done in Briggs and Little, but this is not their one with nylon in it. It's just their Regal blend, which is 100% woolen spun 2-ply yarn. This is held double, so it's a pretty thick sock. And then the contrast in here is tacky Donegal tweed, and it was a single ply. They said it was an Aran weight, but it was kind of thick and thin. So when I held it double, I didn't think it was as thick yet as this Briggs and Little. So I held a strand of Wisp, which is handmade in mohair, but it's a thicker mohair, but it gave the heel and the toe like a really nice cushy feel. And then the braid up here, this is the first time I've done one of these braids.
I love
a Latvian braid. I've done a Vickel braid before, which is basically in one color, and it's done a little bit differently, but this is a Latvian braid, and I really enjoyed doing it. And then the sock has this little tassely thing at the end. Now they said to braid it, but I actually took the strands and I did it on my little fringe twister that I use on my weaving and just did the little twisted tassels on it. So those, I mean, those definitely are house socks. They're more like slippers really. But again, they're called loom, and loom means snow or glow in Finnish or Danish. And so I thought, they all fit in with my theme. That's just what I wanted to knit this month. So
anyway. They look like little elf socks.
That's right. Roscoe's. You could just hang those up for Christmas if they were red. Anyway, I like them. So they were fun, quick knit.
When we are able to go back to a cozy cabin, you're going to be all.
That's right. When I can go to a cozy cabin, my feet are going to be warm. Next year.
Next year.
Yeah, because think when we were on that retreat up in Shelburne with all of us, it was cold then. It would have been nice to have socks like that to put on then.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'll be prepared.
That was a good weekend.
Yeah. Yep. So, okay. So that's my whips.
Well, I had something else. Just a minute here. I wasn't going to show this, but Noelle said I should show it. So
you should.
So our son bought the house we used to live in. So his childhood home, and he lives in it now. And he's been doing some renovating and whatnot. And I guess one of the renovations that we had done in it had us putting a lot of things up into the attic. And I guess it's a good thing that he moved into the house when we moved out, because we, I guess, left some things behind. So he was cleaning out the attic, and he found, and if my mom watches this podcast, which I know she does, she's going to remember this, because this old little suitcase here, this was my Barbie suitcase when I was a little girl. And somehow it came with me from Nova Scotia, and it got passed on to my daughter. And she kept her Barbies in it. And so he sent that over. And when I opened it up, I don't remember making these, but I did. I know that I did. So I started pulling out these things, and I had made these for my daughter. And I honestly don't recall how I had the time to do this, but they're crocheted. And here's the first one. These are Barbie dresses.
So cute.
This one reminds me of, well, I guess her little ties come undone, but it reminds me of remember years ago, they used to sit on top of toilet paper?
Yes.
So there was this one, and then this one's on Barbie still. And I particularly like this, and I'm thinking, wow, this would be so stylish now. So it's actually a little bodysuit. Look, like knitted bottoms. That's cute. And then it has this little skater skirt that goes over top. And this is mohair. This was mohair before mohair was cool. This is probably from the 70s, this mohair. So my daughter's 31 now. So this will give you like just a gap of, I guess these are over 20 years old. So I think they've held up really well.
Yeah.
Here's another one too. I thought I had one more. Oh, this one I guess wasn't finished. I think this one was going to be a suit. She's still missing a sleeve. This is also some form of mohair. It's a little jacket. And there was a skirt. This one I remember making. This is knitted, not crocheted. And it's this little collared jacket. It's like a little Chanel suit. And then there was this one, which was crocheted again. And this is for evening wear for Barbie, out of crocheted cotton. Look at this dress.
Wow.
And I even crocheted these little flowers. and spaghetti straps. This is crazy. Where did I have this time? So
you make
also,
me a big one like that, Kelly?
pardon me?
Can you make me a big one like that?
Absolutely. So then he also sent over this box that had a lot of my old patterns in it. And I started going through the patterns. And so quickly I found there's Barbies outfits
Yeah.
that we would have bought. And I think that evening gown was my own pattern, because this looks like the top of the evening gown with the spaghetti straps. And I think I just created that mermaid's bottom skirt. But it also had these. And I thought, I don't know, Noelle. Oh, there's the frilly dress, but I made the short version of it.
Yep.
But I was thinking, look at this. Barbie's one-piece pajamas. Wouldn't they be cute to make and hang on a Christmas tree?
Yes, yes, they would.
And I love this coat. I would wear this coat. I would wear that coat. So that was fun. And then the other thing that I found in the box, and did you make these ever? Did you make these ponytail toppers? Like, look, do you remember?
Are they like the little curly Q thingies?
Yes. This one right here, the little ringlets. So this is going way back. As I said, my daughter's 31, but I remember making her these things for her hair. And then the other jewel that I found in the box, the last jewel. So this is going way back, like way back. So when I was a teenager, my mom had taught me how to knit, and she taught me the basic stitches: knit, purl, probably do a few things. But as a teenager, I wanted to learn to do more. And I have this book, and we were talking about this the other night. I didn't realize that I still had this book. I could picture this book in my mind, but I didn't know I actually possessed the book still. I thought it was long gone. And it was the Knitting Dictionary, 800 Stitches and Patterns. Cost $1.95. It was published in New York. And I don't want to know when it was published, because I don't know how I came to have it. But as a teenager, this is actually how I taught myself the finer arts of knitting and crocheting, because it would go on and it showed everything. It showed how to like cast on, how to decrease, how to do fancy hems. And then, as promised, it does have 800 stitch patterns in here.
Wow.
And some of these are really great patterns. So now that I found the book, I'm not about to give it up again, because I can see how I can pull these into socks really easily. And I got kind of excited about it. And then at the back of it, this is how I learned to crochet, because it actually teaches you how to crochet. So I don't even want to say what this makes me as a teenager, but I spent some of my formative years up in my room with crochet hook and cotton, learning how to do some of these stitches. And I'm a left-handed.
That's the thing, right? Back then we didn't have internet just to go on to look at the internet, right? It had to be like either someone showed you or you got a book or.
Exactly. So this is definitely approaching the craft from an old school way, finding a book, sitting down with a book and learning how. And that's how it all happens. So there's my stitching start right there. It's a huge piece of my history.
Well, the thing is with all the stitch patterns, I mean, without a book, how do you know what stitch pattern you want?
Exactly.
Right? If you don't have the pictures to look at, like, or you don't know what to go search for on the internet. So it's nice to actually see the pictures of the stitch pattern and say, oh yeah, I want to do that. And it's, however many stitches by however many rows. And, but yeah, that's cool.
Crazy.
So.
Okay. That's all I have for FOs.
That's all I have. So I guess we're going to move on. Okay. So I guess we'll talk about our whips now. Do you want to go first, Kelly?
Sure.
Okay.
So I cast on a couple of things just in the last week, actually, instead of finishing some of the things that were already on needles. Because that's what January is about, isn't it? Casting on all the things.
That's what the self-care cal's for.
That's right. This was all self-care, or my monkey brain. I don't know. So Noelle already showed off her lightweight hipster. So I talked about this, I think, on the last podcast too. I had a skein of yarn that I got in New York last January, from Barnyard Knits. So I cast this on and it caked up really beautifully. Look at those specks.
Mhm.
So I'm only at the first set of crossovers,
Oh, that's pretty.
but it's coming out really nice. I'm really happy with it. And I've got, oops, I think I just showed you the back of it. I did. There we go. Show you the right side of it.
That's
It's really
pretty.
nice though. It's got just the
Mhm.
perfect amount of speckles. And then I have on it my little angel stitch marker that Noelle gave me. And this is made by our friend Ann Tudor. And she makes glass stitch markers, and the detail, they're so cute.
They are.
So we met Ann a little over a year ago and
Yep.
became great friends. And she does absolutely beautiful work. So you can find her on Instagram. Noelle will add this to our
Yep, I'll add that.
list too. So that's cast on number 1. And then I started this
I can't
shawl.
believe I didn't buy any of that Barnyard Knits yarn.
I think that's when we had you parked away in a room somewhere when you were really sick. So you weren't even.
I can't believe I didn't even have the foresight to say, Kelly, buy me some of that yarn.
I know, right? And then there's this one that I cast on. So this is called A Dash of Alchemy. And it's a very clever construction because this almost looks as if it's an applied border, but it's actually not. It's knit in. And I'm using the ginger snap yarn, that same twist fingering. So it has like these little zebra stripes in it of the marl. And then I paired that with Timber Yarns, a tonal in licorice.
Yeah.
And they work really well together. So I'm not that far on it. Sure I'm showing you the right side. That's how it's knitting up.
Oh, that's nice.
So you
So is it like Intarsia where you have like you stop at the end of the blue and then do black?
Yeah, it's Intarsia.
Okay.
So I do a twist at the end of each row before I start into either the color or the solid. So you can see the twist running down the back. And so that's just my first stripe.
But it's still pretty easy to keep your yarn separated because there's just that one point where you have to cross over.
Yeah. And whichever way I twist going over, I just make sure I twist the opposite way when I go back. So then I never have the yarns twisted up anyway. But I love how this is working up. So I do have another picture of it, how it actually looks. I'll zoom in on that.
Oh, that's pretty.
Yeah. So once that gets blocked, I think that's going to be gorgeous. And
is it supposed to take most of the 2 skeins?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah. So it'll be a good size.
Yeah, it will. I don't think I have that part of the pattern up here with me, but it will. So it's a 2 skein shawl, so it will be a good size. But I just thought it was so pretty with that open work, the lace. And that is one of Melinda's absolute talents as a designer, is her lace work. She does amazing lace. And it's fun lace because I'm not always the biggest fan of lace or doing lace, but her patterns are fun. They're engaging. This one is not memorizable because there's quite a few rows in each repeat of that lace. So, I mean, it's not memorizable for me, that's for sure. But it's the second row of every part of that shawl is basically the same going back. So you're just reading one row going forward through the lace, and the lace I think is 20 or 27 stitches. And then you're going into the stripe. So when you come back, you're going to do the same thing. So it looks like a really challenging pattern. And I definitely wouldn't say it's for a beginner knitter, but it's certainly well within anybody's means, I think, if they have an understanding of basic lace stitches. And I use Knit Companion, so that makes my knitting quite a bit easier. So I just tap on the row each time and it will take me up the next row.
Yep.
And it's, yeah, I really like the pattern. I'm having a lot of fun with it. And
I was going to ask you that if you put it in Knit Companion, because I find that so much easier to keep track than by having a paper or marking it down or. So plus if you're on a certain section, you can make it bigger if you want to see what that particular one is. Like I half the things that I knit, I probably have in there. Like if it's got a pattern that you're.
I don't know how I got along without it. I've had it for quite a few years, and it just makes, honestly, it just makes everything easier. And I like how you can, even if it's not built in as a chart to the pattern, you can create your own pattern. You can create the key for the stitches, because sometimes on patterns, the stitch glossary, or the key, I guess, isn't on the same page as the graph.
Yeah.
This you can, and then you can have it displayed along the bottom. So if there are some trickier stitches in there that you need just a little bit of help remembering.
Yeah.
So it's fantastic. It's fantastic.
Yeah, that's what the one that I'm doing right now, I'll show you in a minute here, but it's the same thing. Like it's got the key, but the key just tells you like it's an L3 something cross, right? But it doesn't tell you what it is. So I've got two keys that are down there, and the one shows the symbols and then the other one tells what it is, right? But then you've got it all in one place, whereas that's 3 or 4 pages in the pattern that I would have to look at.
Yeah.
So yeah, I find it a lot easier to keep track of things in there.
It's a great, it's a great piece of software, and there's a free version too. So if you don't really know how much you might use it, like if you think, oh, I'm not really certain about it, you're welcome to try out their free version. And it doesn't have all of the features unlocked in the free version, but it definitely has enough to get you through like a pretty challenging pattern. I used the free version, I think, for a year, maybe 2 years before I even bought the paid version. And
yeah, I think it was when I got into knitting lace shawls and I was combining charts that I thought, okay, I have to buy the version, because you can actually put your piece your charts all together into one chart. So that was a lot easier. So yeah, definitely recommend it. So. Okay. Any more whips?
No.
Okay. So my first whip is a sample knit that I'm doing for Little Red Mitten. It's a sweater. And here's the pattern. It is the Winter Beach by Andrea Mowry. I loved this pattern before they even asked me to do it as a sample knit. I think I told Kelly I really like that. Didn't really think of what I was going to do it in. I really like the Hedgehog Fibers yarn that they've done it in here, but it's very hard to get a hold of. So anyway, but this yarn that I'm doing it in, I really like it too. So the yarn that they asked me to knit it in is the Fiber Co. Erin Moore Light. So this is the whole back front. It's knit from the bottom up. So I'll just kind of fold this over so you can see.
I love that color. I think you can see
the pattern there, the cables. It's got like the honeycomb cable and then the bigger cable, which is repeated like on both sides. And then a couple of times across the back. And then all of the rest in between is a double seed stitch.
I love that color.
I love this color. This color is called Branna, and this yarn is made in Ireland. And it is, there's a skein. Let me see here. It is 80% wool, 10% silk, and 10% cashmere. And it's tweedy. It's got little flecks of other colors in it. It's absolutely gorgeous. It feels amazing to work with. And it's funny because when I saw that pattern, I thought, I actually have this yarn myself in this color. And I thought, oh, I should do that pattern in that color. So I was really surprised when they gave me this to knit. So now when I do mine, I might have to do it in a different color, because I don't know if I can do the same sweater twice in the same color. So I might have to pick a different color. But they've got gorgeous colors in this yarn, so it won't be hard to pick another color. So this yarn is from Little Red Mitten in St. Thomas, and they do have an online store, and this yarn comes in quite a few different colors. It's a DK weight yarn. It's got amazing yardage. There's 300 meters in one skein and 100-gram skein. So it's really, again, you're going to end up with a nice warm sweater, but it's not going to be super heavy, which is really nice when you've got the cables, because that incorporates a lot more yarn. So if you had a really heavy yarn, it would be a really heavy sweater. So I'm really enjoying knitting that. So that's my first whip.
I have a Donegal tweed that I brought back from Ireland. I don't know though if it's a DK or if it would be a worsted. I'll have to check that because I have a sweaters quantity.
Oh, do you?
Yeah.
I did bring some of that back. It might be a little heavier. You'd have to look at the, but you can always adapt it because pardon me?
I bought it with the intentions of a cardigan, and I've just
because you can just shorten up the spaces where you've got the seed stitch, right? So it wouldn't, and then the sleeves are just stocking stitch, so I don't think it would be too hard to adjust the size. So that was my first whip. Now my next whip is my Bernie sock. So this, I'm sure everybody's seen all the Bernie patterns that are coming out. So this is called Bernie Socks, and it is by Stone Knits. It's a free pattern on Ravelry. She just asked that if you use her pattern, like maybe give a donation to one of your favorite charities or a charity that supports children. So I really liked it. I really felt like doing some color work. So I just went through my stash to see what I had that I could do it in. So I had all these colors, not full balls, but I didn't need that. So this brown up at the top, and then the gray that you just need a little bit of, that is Drops Fable. The cream color is just Lion Brand Sockies in the marshmallow color. This beigey color is Sand and Scarn Saisu. And then this kind of reddish, it's kind of an oak leaf color. Sorry, got to get a drink. We don't talk anymore, so my voice wears out. But this is Georgian Bay fingering. So it's a local Canadian dyer. And this color is called Cardwell Oak Leaf. So I thought they all went together. And the sock is pretty much color work at the top, then pretty much just stocking stitch down to your heel. I did a heel flap and gusset. Then you go again about that much, and then it's going to have some of the color work repeat again, and then the toe will be in the brown color. So it was fun knitting it. So that'll be Ross's Valentine present or anniversary to present, depending on when I get them done. So they're Bernie socks for Ross. So, and my other whips are the things that I said I was going to get done and didn't get done because I cast on these other things. So I'm not going to show them. I did work on them. My Western Rose cardigan, or not, it's not a cardigan, it's a pullover. I got one sleeve on it done. So I've still got one sleeve and the body rest to do. And then my Suburban Wrap by Hohi, I'm almost done the last stripe section. So hopefully I'll have those done by the next podcast. So that's pretty much it for whips. I'm just concentrating on that. I want to try and get that winter beach cardi done. So, okay. So did you buy anything lately, Kelly?
Yes. Just a little.
Okay. I only have a little because I actually did order some things, but they just haven't come yet.
Okay.
So you go first.
Okay. Acquisitions. So I have this from Ravenswood Fiber Co. It's not pretty.
Oh, nice.
This is a high twist. So it's 85 superwash merino and 15% nylon. And this one's called My Old Lantern. I like her yarn. Well, I love the way she dyes yarn, but I also like that she puts her yarn on the internet. She pairs it with these pictures that she creates the yarn, and she pops these up every week. And I'm a bit of a sucker sometimes for a one skein. They're perfect socks. Like, they're just beautiful socks.
Yep.
And so she vacuum seals everything so she can afford to ship for free anywhere in Canada and the US. And so and it's so soft. Her yarn is so soft, but that is going to be some socks for sure.
Yeah. I think I've had some of her yarn in a DK and I really liked it too. Because I know she's got other bases, but yeah, I told Ross I wouldn't buy any more yarn in January.
Well, today's your lucky day because it's the last day.
I know it was hard.
And then the other thing that I bought, you had bought some last month. So this is the Nua Sport, and it's yarn by Carol Feller. And we bought this from
The Fiber Nook.
the Fiber Nook, yes, out west. And this is 60% merino wool, 20% yak, and 20% linen.
I know. Doesn't it feel amazing?
It's so amazing. And this is called August Storms. So although it's a gray, there's definitely like a purple base to it.
Yeah. Yeah, it's pretty.
So one of the reasons that I wore my Ramona cardigan today is because this might be a Ramona light. There's two sweaters that I have that are vying for the attention of this yarn. And the Ramona light is one of them. So it might be a cardigan, but it's really got like gorgeous fleck in it too.
I know.
And it just, there's no weight. So I think as a nice cardigan, it would be, yeah. And I love that linen, the linen feel too, right?
There was a new pattern that just came out. I think it was by Jennifer Wood. I'd have to look and see if I find it, I'll put it in, but it actually calls for the Nua Sport. And it's a pullover, and you need one contrast skein for up here. And then it's just got a little bit of detail down through here. So I was looking at that. So I'm not sure yet and who knows what it'll be by the time I actually get around to knitting it.
Yeah.
But it feels amazing. I can't wait to start working with it. So.
Okay. And what did you get?
What did I get? I didn't actually, well, I'm still waiting for yarn, but what I did get is my order from MK and Crew. So I was talking about that last time when we were talking about self-care.
Mm-hmm.
So this is their lotion, but it's like a hand lotion. It smells amazing. This one is apple spice. So I got a couple of them. This one's apple spice. There's citrus sunshine. I'm using one right now that's pumpkin spice. Really nice. They also do come in an unscented if you don't like scents. Like I like scents, but if you don't like scents, it does come in an unscented. They're very reasonably priced, and they give 10% of their profits to charity.
Very nice.
And they're a local St. Thomas company. Mm-hmm. I will put their website in the show notes. They also do soap. So this is hip hop soap, and they think they use like leftover hops from a brewery. So they're actually recycling some of the things into their products. So that was that. And then I got another soap, but I just wanted to show this because this is the little dishcloth that I made last week that I said, or last podcast I was working on, that could be used for a face cloth. Well, it looks so cute if you just put a little bar of soap with it and put it together like with a face cloth. Mm-hmm. And it's a nice little gift. You can package it up, and it's even a nice hostess gift if you're going somewhere. So
when we're going somewhere again.
When we're going somewhere. Okay. And they also do lip balms, and all of their packaging is recyclable. Like even the lip balms come in like cardboard containers so that it's all recyclable when you're done with it. The soap packaging, again, anything that's around it is just all paper, so it can be recycled. And then they put all their lotions in tins instead of plastic squeeze tubes. So I've been using the lotion since I got it last week, and I absolutely love it. And I love the scent of it. And I also got some of their whipped face cream, which is unscented, and I really like it too. So nice product. Nice to be able to support local too.
Yes, very nice.
So. And then I didn't just get this, but this was a kit that I got for my birthday, but I haven't had a chance, and I still haven't actually had it out. It is a kit to do a Marie Wallen sweater. So the sweater that I want to do is this one.
Wow.
It's called Primrose. I forget how many different colors are in it. I'll show you the yarn here in a minute. But it was funny because I was just watching a podcast, and I didn't think about this before, but you know how we're talking about Knit Companion and how it's so nice to have your graph in there?
Right.
So these graphs to do these sweaters, and I'll just show an example really quickly. They're all done with symbols for the colors. And this is all in a book. So I'm trying to figure out how I'm going to put this into Knit Companion. I know I've done it before where I've taken a picture and then put the picture into Knit Companion.
Yes.
But I don't know if I need to color the picture first, like with the colors of the yarn, or I don't know. I mean, I think I'm definitely going to have to do the picture and put it in Knit Companion, at least so that I can make it bigger to see it. So if anybody has any ideas, or you've worked with this before, or you've got an idea on how to do it, let me know. So, because there is a lot of different colors in the sweater. Here's the kit. I'm trying not to crinkle it too much, Kelly. So there's all the different colors of the yarn.
Oh my goodness.
So anyway, looking forward to starting it, but it's a little daunting. But I'll get there. So, I mean, I know her color work is, in this particular pattern, you only ever have 2 colors per row. I think most of her color repeats are fairly short, so you don't have to worry too much about, like, what am I saying? You know, like catching your floats. Yeah. Don't have to worry about that. Yeah. But I really need to have the chart blown up, and I want to be able to put it in Knit Companion. And I think that'll help a lot. So anyway, so do you have any other acquisitions? No?
No, I'm
just going to show a couple of things. I actually did start some spinning. I'm still, believe me, still beginner. Like, I'm just happy that I got some of the fleece to go onto the wheel. Okay. And I'm getting better. It's not breaking all the time anymore. But of course, I've already started my fleece collection though. So here's a few of them. So this first one, this is Shirley Bryan yarn. I actually didn't even know that Shirley Bryan yarn had fleece, but Rachel got me this back when I might have even had this before I even had the spinning wheel. So this color is called Ilvermorny, and it is a merino bamboo silk blend, and it feels amazing, but I think I have to wait a while before I try to spin this because I don't want to ruin it. So that was one. I just am drawn in by these colors. So these other 2 I actually got when I was up visiting Tracy in Bala, and the yarn store in Coldwater called the Purple Sock. She carries this, I've got her card here. I think it's 3 Dog Knits Fiber Arts. So this one is a Polworth, superwash Polworth blend. And then this one is a BFL in silk. But I mean, I can see how you can just get totally drawn in by the colors and the feel of fleece just as easily as you can by the colors and the feel of yarn. So I'm not sure this is going to help decrease my stash any. So
I'm looking forward to what you can spin with that.
Me too. But like I said, I'm afraid to go, like right now, I'm just kind of spinning. I bought a whole big pack of this Corriedale, which is a little stickier, so it's easier for beginner spinners. And it's all just like pieces of different colors. So I'm just pulling out the next color and doing it. So I'm not even sure what I'm going to do with that when I take it off. But I said probably like in the next week, I'm going to take that bobbin off, and I'm going to maybe just start one of these. I don't know. I haven't decided yet for sure. We'll see. We'll see how brave I am.
How many grams of fiber is that? And what will you get?
These are 100 or 113.
Okay.
So, and basically there's no waste. So you're going to get like 100 grams of yarn, but it just depends on the thickness that you spin it, whether you end up with a fingering or a sport or a DK. I'm getting, I mean, the very first spinning I did was really, really thick and thin, but I've gotten a little bit better at controlling it, but I still get like some of those thick and thin spots. But you know, it's hand spun, right? That's the
beauty of it.
Yeah. Yep. So, I mean, I'm enjoying it. It's totally different than knitting. So it's a little bit actually more, well, right now, because I'm just learning, I definitely have to concentrate, right? But it's just neat to see it spinning and the fiber go onto the bobbin. So addictive.
I don't even want to see it. I'm afraid I'll fall into something else that I don't have time for.
Yeah. So anyway, anyway, it's fun. So this will be the perfect winter to get to use it because I'm not going anywhere.
Exactly. Perfect.
So
good.
Okay. Well, that's it for me for acquisitions.
Okay. I've been sewing. So I have, just to carry on with our cozy cabin theme.
Yeah.
This week's bags that are, so if I can get, so today being Sunday, I can probably have the podcast up by Tuesday evening. So whatever evening I put the podcast up, I'll do the shop update like the day later, because I know I've had a few comments from other podcasts that I show bags, and then by the time they hop in, they're gone. So I'm going to wait until the podcast airs before I list these in the shop. But I have a good supply of these, and these are kind of, like, I think they're cabiny. They're definitely wood.
They are.
And they're cabiny. So there's this print. There's this print that I really like, which is kind of similar, but then it's got like the red on the bottom.
Yeah, it's nice.
And then, so I have both sizes too. I've got the large bags, and then I have the sock sacks in a different print again.
That's cute.
Yeah, that's a really nice one.
Yeah.
And then I have a few, not too many of these, but these are very similar to the bag that I made you, but just slightly
those
different.
Are nice.
So this is all quilted here. And then these are a solid panel, and I've put them on a linen base, and these are a pretty wide bottom zip, but what I like about these is the way I design the zipper. It's fully open bag.
Yeah.
And these are done with a fleece backing in them. So you can just pop that on the floor, and it's a yarn bowl. And if you're concerned about your yarn touching a zipper, you have the option of just flipping the ridge down, right? And this would be easily, this would hold like 2 skeins and a shawl. This is a big one. And then I've put the D-ring on the side too, if you want to hook things on there as well. And so that's what you get when you do the pull tab on the outside. You'll get a wider opening bag, but these are really cute too. So I have a few different styles of those too. And then there's the usual complements of Notions pouches. I'll have the scrappy sacks and the peekaboo pouches to go with those. And
those are gorgeous, Kelly.
Thanks. So yeah, it's cozy cabins.
I know. Next year.
Next year. So that's pretty much, I think my table's emptied off. I don't know.
Yeah, my floor is a mess, but
I know there's always the cleanup after the podcast. Where are the podcast cleaning up fairies that will come in?
Yeah, I know.
All of this away for us, right?
Oh, well.
So, okay. Well, thanks for watching.
Yeah, thanks so much for watching. We're still having fun. A few technical challenges.
Yeah.
But just think how it's going to be so easy once we're going to be able to get together again.
I know, right? So much easier.
Yeah.
We thought that was a little challenging in the beginning, and now we realize what a piece of cake that was compared to what we have to deal with now. But
yeah.
So anyway, that's what we have. Don't forget, next Sunday, February 7th, 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, we're going to go live. So get some questions ready for us. I hope somebody shows up. It'd be nice to have at least one of us, right?
Hopefully. If not, you and me.
Yeah, if not, it will be Noelle and I knitting just like we used to. Anyway, that's what we have.
And get all your project into the 2 cals, the self-care cal and the sock cal. So we'll, again, next month, February, we'll draw a prize for the sock cal. So, and if the winner can get a hold of us, we'll make sure that we get that prize in the mail to you. Okay. So
thanks for joining us.
Thanks so much for watching. We really appreciate it. Again, love sharing. So hoping to be able to talk to some of you next Sunday.
And you can find us on Ravelry. I'm the Tangled Stitch on Ravelry. I'm the Tangled Stitch on Instagram. And you are?
I am Knits and Pieces on Ravelry and Noelle's Knits and Pieces on Instagram.
Okay.
So,
And everything that we talked about today, Noelle will have in show notes below the
yes.
video. And if you liked what
Yep.
you saw, if you hit subscribe, then you'll get notifications on when our next podcast is up. And if the live goes well, then we'll be doing some more of those too. And
Yep.
you'll have notifications of that as well.
Yeah. And if you do have any questions, like, feel free to ask us. I know someone last time was having trouble with the link to the show notes. So I sent her the actual direct link. So if you have any problems at all, just let us know.
Very good. Okay. Well, until
so
next time.
Take care and happy
knitting.
knitting. Bye-bye.
Bye.